And hello, freelancers. Welcome back to Fort Tarsis Radio. This is episode number 7. My name is Dorcius, and with my fellow co-host here, Adema, we have a brand new guest for you today.
Hi, I'm.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry, I thought you were. How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me.
So our guest today is Szkurzy,
Well
and
done, sir. Well done.
yeah, it has a secret silent Z mixed in there.
Always had the silent Z.
The
Crazy
founder of
Eastern.
Anthem Outpost and the Coalition of United Freelancers is his guild. So how about you introduce yourself and talk a little bit about that?
Awesome, guys. Like I said, thanks for having me. My name's Szkurzy. So basically, I'm the creator and I guess the founder of Anthem Outpost and the Coalition of United Freelancers. It kind of came about as I don't know if either of you guys were involved in the closed alpha.
I was not.
I
No.
was.
Edema. There you go. Okay, so without breaking the NDA, it was enough of a taste of Anthem for me to be like, yeah, you know what, like this could be a replacement for Destiny for me. I'd like you guys. I'm a long time player since like the pre-beta days, and I watched Destiny kind of slowly turn into a toxic exclusive community, whereas like if you didn't have Galahorn, you were of no friggin' use. If you didn't have Black Spindle, you were no friggin' use. And it just like, I think we can all actually agree Destiny was at its best when you were playing with a group of people that you knew. And I have an embarrassing amount of hours in that actual game. Like I think I have over like 1,600 in Destiny 1 and like 900 in Destiny 2. But it became harder and harder to find groups because I didn't have blank weapon or I didn't have blank exotic. And Anthem just kind of scratched that itch for me. It was kind of like it was the Destiny feel. It gave me a little bit of Monster Hunter as far as like when you're flying around the creatures in the area. A little bit of No Man's Sky as far as when you're going down finding the different, like in-game collectibles. So I didn't want people to have a roadblock to get into that actual game that Destiny had clearly thrown up in the online community. So I kind of threw up a post on the alpha forums, like before it got shut down, just kind of throwing out feelers for what the Anthem online community would feel as far as having like a guild family. So not necessarily, platform specific. So we're not Xbox One specific. We're not PS4 specific. We're not PC specific. We're community specific, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
What Anthem Outpost started as was kind of like if I can draw a Destiny reference, and I'm sorry if I'm going to be referencing that a lot, that's the game I have the most comparison to.
A lot of us understand.
Totally. So, I'm sure you guys have visited the website planetdestiny.com. Like, shout out to those guys, all right? But that became an amazing resource for anything Destiny, anything Destiny content. If you wanted reviews on exotics, they had those. If you wanted builds, they had those. So it's kind of like, all right, well, let me get the ball rolling on something like that for Anthem, having never made a website before, having never tried to head an online community before. So like I said, I threw that up onto the actual onto the closed alpha forums, and the response was bigger than I thought it was going to be. So that kind of turned into the Coalition of United Freelancers. And like I said, I don't know if I managed to recruit or swindle these people, but I managed to recruit a really good core team to kind of take over the Xbox community, the PS4 community, and the PC community, as well as some people that have some other skills. Like Draken is our Xbox community, Owl is our PC community, and Cat Evolution and Shadow Javelin are our PS4. And
Nice.
then we've also got guys like, I know you had Sofa Jockey on here
Yeah.
Right.
a couple of episodes ago. He's been one of our kind of one of the key members in helping us shape it. And then at Layer 360 hopped on board, and he's just been a graphic design fiend for us as far as designing logos and stuff like that. So it's all just kind of this is going to sound really, really cheesy, and I apologize for this, but it kind of feels like all of the BS jobs that I had leading up to this point, the skill set that I developed up to this point, led to the development of the website, the COUF, and that recruitment of the core team. Right. So that I can kind of be hands-off as far as that aspect and just focus on the website, focus on the overall community management, and just trying to draw people into the group, which is basically we are a helpful, inclusive, and positive Anthem community that will be there as far as if anyone needs Sherpa services, we will offer those. It's just a good laid back environment to play with fellow like-minded freelancers.
Yo, that was not cheesy at all. That was that was perfect. That's actually a great thing to hear. So any of you listening and you are worried about like, well, what's the Anthem community going to look like? I think maybe you should be stopping by the coalition.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
It sounds like it's going to be like another one of those. Can you find that information? Can you find those people? Yes. The answer is yes. Somebody is doing it, and it's this guy right here.
Thank you. Like I've also got like I said, I'm still learning as I actually go, but I managed to throw up forums, like a separate forum onto AnthemOutpost.com to strictly act as a looking for group players who don't necessarily want to enlist, quote unquote, but they're just looking for other players to play with that they know aren't going to be the toxic, negative, just trash talking the quote unquote noob players. They just want to come in and have an enjoyable Anthem online experience, which is what I think BioWare and EA are trying to get their game to be.
Right.
Yeah. And
so
actually, so to point that out, one thing that BioWare is resistant against is like a kick mechanic at this point. So like if they want to prevent it because if someone's a bad player, they don't want them getting kicked, which is completely understandable.
Absolutely.
And then, but like people are worried about trolls that are abusing the system, where like they pick up the little shaper relics,
the echoes,
and they just never deposit them.
And that's something that I actually ran into a couple of times during both the VIP demo and the open demo, but they've actually addressed that in the full game. I think they're called echoes, those little glowy white orb things.
Yep.
Okay,
the echoes.
So they apparently have a minute timer on them now, so once you actually pick it up, it starts to go red now. Once it actually counts down the minute timer, it actually goes back to where it actually respawned.
Right.
So that's not too bad. They've kind of addressed that, but I've been reading on the actual forums, there's issues with in free play, the chests, if you're actually down, and we'll talk about you being down later and how that's kind of an issue. But if you're down and a random comes in and opens up the chest and then revives you afterwards, you don't get the loot for the stuff that you just did. So
noted.
So I mean, there's clearly going to be bugs, and I think the Anthem community needs to kind of calm down a little bit. We're comparing this to games that have been out for 2 to 3 years. Okay.
Right.
Bungie's had that's the game I'm obviously referencing. Bungie's had a lot of time to polish, develop, and add content. Anthem is releasing, we all know, pretty bare bones as far as the end game. Only 3 strongholds and 3 different grandmaster difficulties that, from what I've read, are just going to be more spongy and more shielded enemies. Okay.
With
cool.
They do
change
combat mechanics a a little bit.
That's
They'll
what I'm
add
hoping
more
for.
attacks into there.
That's what I'm hoping for. I hope it's not just more yellow bars and you have to soak more bullets into them. I hope they do add more like different mechanics, different attacks as you actually go up. But I think the better end game comparison in Anthem, it swerves away from Destiny and the Division. I think the end game in Anthem needs to be looked at more like something like Diablo 3, where you're running the same the same dungeons over and over and over again, trying to get that perfect piece of loot.
Right.
It's gonna be repetitive, but let's be honest, that's the nature of the loot shooter, right? Or the
Right.
loot genre. Like it's all about the gear. My one concern from what I've been seeing on the forums, on the discords, is that it seems like the drop rate for Masterwork stuff is really quick. So I'm kind of concerned. Like there was a guy on our Discord, I'm sorry, I don't remember his name specifically, but he's already got a full Masterwork set.
Whew, boy.
Yeah, but Legendary is even higher than that.
I suppose, but like the game's been out for 2 days and dude's already got a full set of the stuff that's just below the best in the game. Like I'm not in favor of artificial walls like that increase grind, like the tombs. I don't know if you've had an experience with the tombs yet.
I have just started that process.
Oh my sweet lord. Dima, just wait. Just wait.
I found 2 of them, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So without giving too many spoilers, it feels like a Destiny grind. When you had to find a certain amount of planetary resources, when you had to kill a certain amount of guardians in the Crucible with a certain type of elemental damage, it takes away from the fun of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just pointing out one of the things. I don't think it'll ruin anything, but like just one of the objectives is to get like 50 melee kills. And
Yep.
I've been maining a storm. I looked at that wall and I had 1 melee kill.
Dude.
Oof.
Yeah, and that's just it. So like as an interceptor, cool, you're probably done that in like 2 to 3 missions, or in free play like maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Right.
As a Colossus, I can probably do that as a little bit faster, faster than I can with a storm using the actual shield. But even the Ranger is single attack, right? Like, so it's your damage goes to one actual thing, whereas the Colossus at least has that kind of like AOD damage.
Right.
But that's going to take you effing forever.
Now, I guess a quick question on that one. Did it count if you changed your javelin?
Oh yeah.
Like could you start it like in your storm and like, yeah, screw this, I'm gonna hop in my interceptor, get the 50 kills, and then switch back?
So there are some good aspects to this quest. Like as soon as you start it and you enter free play for the first time, I think that triggers the start of it.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then you can do other missions. You can do the stronghold. You can do whatever you want.
Right.
You just gotta complete the specified objectives for each of them.
Mm-hmm. I will say too that up to what I've played so far, the story's been really good. Like I've been intrigued by what's going on. I think BioWare has pretty much redeemed themselves as far as the facial animation fiasco from Andromeda. But yeah, like the characters are immediately likable. Like Owen, like he's like the puppy character that you just kind of want to take. Like he's someone that you want to go and have a beer with. He seems like someone who could be your best friend.
Right.
Yaro's the hard ass Russian dude, grizzled.
Yep.
seen some stuff. Like I'm not too far into the actual story, so I don't want to give spoilers at all. But like I'm intrigued where this is going in a way that Destiny never got its hooks in for me story-wise. It was the gameplay loop. It was the how good the gameplay felt to shoot, to jump, to pop that super. It was that loop more than anything else. Like the story, like Destiny 1, they dropped all of the story hooks for Destiny 2, and then they just left a whole bunch of unanswered questions in that too. So I don't know. But I've got high hopes for Anthem in general. I want to actually give a shout out to BioWare in particular for how transparent they've been during the
Yes.
entire actual process. Like, as a longtime Destiny fan, that's rare.
And
That's
Right.
rare.
it may be because of Destiny feasible.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
like with how non-transparent they were and the
Absolutely.
huge backlash, like this isn't
Right.
what we wanted with Destiny 2.
Mhm.
And then Destiny still needs to improve on communication, or Bungie rather.
Yeah.
Right.
But they have really made steps in the right direction. But at the same time, BioWare, with everything they've been doing in terms of communication, I mean, there's certain things where they got in a little hot water about, like they didn't want to talk about story or endgame
Right.
or the microtransaction store.
Right.
Like those three
Yeah.
topics specifically, they very, very much tried to avoid.
Yeah.
Story.
Tread carefully.
Yeah, story I'm generally okay with. Like, if I make a comparison to Hollywood movie trailers, I feel like they give away too much of the game. Or sorry, too much of the actual
Right.
plot of
Right.
the movie. I'm okay if they're a little more sparse on the story aspects. Endgame, sure. I mean, like, they knew 3 Strongholds was going to get a pushback from the audience. They knew. That's
Yes.
probably why they took so long to say, "Hey, we only have 3 Strongholds at the end game." But we are working on, raids, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
I like, it's clear when you look at the E3 trailer from 2017 to where they are now. BioWare has clearly been like creeping the Bungie forums and creeping Reddit to see
Right.
what the Destiny players are most angry about, and it honestly seems like they're going in the complete opposite direction, which I am all for. I am all for something that adds like a new flavor to that like loot and shoot genre.
Right.
Plus, I get to act out my Iron Man fantasies, so
Yeah.
bonus.
Who doesn't want that?
Totally.
And I was gonna say, just off of that comment, I would not find it very odd if the folks at BioWare played like everybody plays games. That's
Yep.
like everybody built video games because they love video games, so they're going to play video games. It wouldn't surprise me if some of them, like, you know what, this is what I experienced playing these games, and I don't want for the people that we're building this game for.
Totally.
So let's do this. Not surprise me at all. If it's like, this would be really nice for me if I was the player. So maybe let's try and do that.
Totally agree with you.
Yeah. So
yep, there you go.
circling back to the point about the raids, they haven't actually nailed down that they're actually going to do a traditional raid type activity. They did say that the cataclysm mechanisms is going to
Right.
replace that, and the cataclysm plays more like a rift scenario where you are in some sort of world event, and then you're just farming obscene amounts of high level enemies to get as many legendary or masterwork drops as you can.
Yeah. I think they've done a good job, like BioWare, as far as shaping the story, as far as the Shaper relics, the gods that just disappeared. They've left enough open-ended questions that they can literally do whatever the hell they want. All right. Nobody knows what the Shaper relics are going to do. Nobody knows what's going to come out of these cataclysms. Nobody knows what's going to come out of these Shaper storms, right? So they've done a really good job narrative-wise as far as leaving open-ended questions that they can just do whatever the hell they want based on, oh, this is a new quote-unquote expansion, brand new, like a brand new faction is coming through. Things like that. So they've done a good job, but I'm pretty sure either Gamble or Dara mentioned something about they were looking at at raids as a potential end game activity, but it does bring up some questions as far as like how many players is the actual raid going to be. Like, I do like the fact that it's squads of 4 versus fire teams of 3. I like having that extra fourth member. It makes the combo system so much more satisfying. But they need to have another mechanic than just fetch and bring back, as if like if they're going to do raids. Because let's be honest, the gameplay mechanic right now is go get echoes, bring them back to the shiny crystal or door, and fight off ads. That's what the loop is at the moment. All right.
Right.
But that's what the Destiny 1 loop was when the game first actually came out too. You got to a point, you threw out your ghost, it scanned something, and you had to protect it while ads came at you. All right. I kind of feel that that's what they've got too. But as far as the raids go, like, there's a lot of potential in the javelins, I think, themselves that they can do because they're completely customizable, because they're built within the Anthem story as whatever Fort Tarsis kind of needs and whatever the freelancers need in the actual moment. So they can kind of tweak that a little bit, and maybe like you have a grappling hook on one, you have to that's still a fetch and gather quest. Like, I'm trying to think back, and once again, comparison to Destiny, Vault of Glass was probably my favorite raid. And that was, I think, because it had a really good mix of both boss fights, team-based mechanics, and puzzles.
Right.
The team-based mechanics they've already got kind of with the combo system, and like you could even do, so let's say, what are we thinking as far as a raid team? 6 or 8?
I'm used to 6, but that's just only because of Destiny.
Do you think graphically the game can handle 8 people? PC probably, but on console, that's...
It's not even a matter of graphically. I'm thinking server issues.
Well, that's what like technically wise.
Yes.
I would be shocked if they could handle 8 javelins and flying in all different directions, doing 8 different things. I think that might be a little tough on the servers.
If you're running right next to a javelin now, you can experience tiny bits of rubber banding.
Exactly. Like, I'm actually getting that on Xbox One X too. Like, I'm thinking too, like, there's a couple of mission points, like, this isn't really like a spoiler because it happened in the VIP and the open demo, but there's parts in the story missions where they take away your flight ability, so where you can't hover, where you can't actually fly. And that was kind of like being in the darkness in the Destiny, where it took away kind of your safety blanket. Like, you could always kind of jump out of the way in Destiny, you could move out of the way. In Anthem, it's very same thing. You can jump, you can hover, you can scoot out of there. But they take that, they could maybe incorporate something like that in the actual raid, where you have to get to certain zones to like recharge your javelin battery. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing here, but I'm curious to see what they can do with just how many open hooks they've left there. Like, they've already kind of released the schedule for what they're planning as far as events, and this one's, I think, coming in March. So pretty quick after launch, but they've been pretty transparent as far as, like, I mean, like, it was kind of a shock when I loaded up the early trial and finished one of the missions, and it brought me back to what's the social space called? I want to call it
the launch bay.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that was a shock, seeing, like, just getting dropped in there and seeing like there's other javelins in here that are just kind of running around. That was actually really cool, and that was something that they did based off the player feedback. So they've already shown that they're susceptible and they're willing to listen and work with the player base, which, but like, Bungie just hasn't done. It's been basically this is how it's going to be. It's our way. We're going to tweak stuff based off what we see in the background, whether it's for PvE or PvP. So I think there's a lot of potential there. I think there's a lot of potential in them.
Yeah, and so speaking to that point in terms of, like, I know we're just going back to Destiny again, but so after Destiny 2 released, and it was a huge bomb. The
Fair.
like it was a huge success right at launch, and everyone was excited. And then
Yeah.
within like two months,
Yeah,
even,
didn't take long.
yeah,
Didn't take long.
Not at
people
all.
were bored of the game. And then, like, because of that, though, Bungie brought in a whole lot of content creators with different aspects and thoughts and ideas of the directions they would like to see the game go,
Mhm.
and they took their opinion. And every single one of these game changer events, BioWare has been doing similar things to a degree. But in addition to that, what an issue right now with Bungie is like they just flat out dropped trials with no
Oh
beginning.
yeah, I just
Right.
read. I read that recently too. Yeah.
And like they're just like, we're working on this in the background. Like they didn't like actually ask a lot of the major community members who based a lot of their Destiny, I guess, careers off of that.
Are clamoring
Yeah.
for Trials of Osiris to come
Yep.
back. Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah,
they just kind of been like playing the game, going through the motions, and waiting for that to come around. And it's just like, well, what I'm gonna do?
Right.
yeah,
Well,
yeah.
do you guys think to tie this into Anthem? Do you think BioWare will have that flexibility to stop that from happening, where it's like, hey, we're working on things, but here's this in the meantime, to do you think we'll be seeing that where it's just like, well, shoot, I'm kind of tired of just running these strongholds all of a sudden. Do you think there's going to be enough of that content that they'll be able to spin in some way to keep us going by the time there is that new fresh piece of content?
I think that comes back to like they're like from what I know, cataclysms and shaper storms, right?
Right.
So they could potentially have the cataclysm being like the seasonal event where that does a drastic change to the world, kind of like WoW did with, I don't remember what expansion it was. Was it Cataclysm? Was that what it was called? Where they completely just scorched the map?
Yes,
Yeah,
a giant
sure that was
dragon
Cataclysm.
came in.
Yeah,
and
okay.
completely
So
remapped the world.
but that's just it, because BioWare's left so many open hooks. They could potentially do that with the actual event, which completely gives us a new map to explore. Whereas the Shaper Storms, like, I don't know if you guys got to battle one of the ancient Ash Titans.
I just missed it, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, so pretty cool actual battle, but they could do stuff like that on a regular event where, throw up an actual tweet, throw in a random NPC who's just come in from being outside of the actual wall. They've left so much that they can just kind of do whatever they want as far as that aspect goes.
Yeah, and I think right now BioWare needs to focus on creating, like, you have your daily and your weekly and your monthly objectives, but that will only take a game so far. Like there needs to be actually additional varied content.
Absolutely, there needs to be. Well, I mean, it's the old actual saying, content is king, right? So they're like, and this is what it comes back to as far as potential, like that system where they've got the dailies, the weeklies, and the monthlies. I think that's a pretty cool system, something outside of the daily bounties that Anthem had, or sorry, that Destiny had. But like, they definitely need to do some tweaks. When, like, I think 5 hours into my trial, I'm already done the monthly.
Yeah,
like that.
I'm nowhere near done with the weekly.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, yeah, the weekly, I think I'm at 2, but I've already done 20 different challenges for the monthly. I was like, all right, cool. So some tweaks need to be made as far as that goes, but we also don't know much about the legendary contract yet either, right? So as far as I know, those are going to be coming from the faction groups. So like Yarrow, like Bryn, like Tassin.
Right.
So those could literally just be like BioWare writes a little short story. It'll
Right.
probably be like the um, expansions were for Destiny 1 and 2, where you'll be out in the world and it'll be, random voice in your actual headset telling you what's going on in quote unquote mission. But you can do stuff like that, and they've already got like BioWare based off their history and this team in particular. Like a lot of the reason why Mass Andromeda sucked is because a lot of the core Anthem team was actually pulled during Andromeda's dev cycle, about like halfway through. So the Anthem core team is made up of members who made Knights of the Old Republic, Baldur's Gate, Mass Effect 1 and 2, Dragon Age. So they've got a pedigree. All right. So as far as the artists that they have, I'm pretty sure that they've already got some ideas that may have been like, quote unquote scrapped. They could come in either during a Shaper Storm, during a legendary contract that could extend that end game content a little bit until the major cataclysm hits us.
Right. And I was gonna jump off of one of the things you mentioned was with our NPCs, like you mentioned Jaro and Tassin, and we've already got that confirmed that in the game, you guys, like, you're gonna have optional things. You talk to these people. They're gonna have stuff for you to do. Like, don't think that, oh, I'm just gonna follow the main mission beacons. I used to be guilty of that. That's not gonna be your complete story. So
so
going and talking to people will give you stuff to do.
From what I've seen, people have already finished the main story, and it took about 9 to 11 hours. Okay, but he actually, like he admitted, he didn't do any of the side quests.
Right.
I'm very much the type where I want to explore Tarsis. I want to find all the Cortex entries. I want to talk to the NPCs. I want to make those left or right trigger choices.
Right.
But my concern with that, though, is we have an expectation for a BioWare game as far as where those choices will lead. I'm kind of concerned that there's not going to be that depth in those NPC interactions. So I don't know if during the VIP and the open demo you guys went downstairs to the bar, talked to the bartender about the overly aggressive woman. Okay, so is it Mirror's that guy voiced by the guy from 30 Rock? And
yes,
it is him, right?
It
Okay,
is.
all right. Oh my god. Yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Okay, so that whole thing about whether or not he should accept her aggressive advances, but she has a very short-tempered freelancer husband. I feel like even if you tell him, yeah, like go after that actual woman, like is that going to lead to anywhere? Like,
right, it's going to lead to something for you.
Well, exactly. Like, I mean, is that just going to later
out?
that like he was found dead in the alley? But like, how does that shape my Anthem story?
Right.
Like, whereas you look at games like Mass Effect, where you're building a legit relationship with these actual the actual characters. Like, Garrus will always be my homeboy, and he can always take that can shot, always. Right. So, but like aside from your main characters, like your Owen, your Faye, your Haluk, and Yarrow, like I don't know how much Lucky Jack is going to play into the story.
Right. If he's more of just like, he's just here to kind of give you a mission, but that's about it.
Yeah, like you guys get to swap freelancer stories. Like, is that all that is to that NPC interaction? I hope not, but from what I've played so far, it kind of seems like that's where it's going. Like outside of your main core characters, the NPC characters I don't think are going to add much except expanded Cortex entries.
Yeah. So I've tried to interact with the various NPCs a decent amount, and they present interesting stories.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right that it's completely opt-in. It doesn't matter whether or not you even do it.
Exactly.
And like it does add it's entertaining. Some of them. I'll just
Some of them
Right.
are pretty funny, like
leave
the
it at that.
greasy gossip guy that's in between the two gates. That's voiced by I think Boyle from
Yeah. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Brooklyn
Yeah.
Nine-Nine.
Yeah.
How he's just trying to spread friggin' rumors about like everybody. His are pretty fun, but like I had a conversation with the freelancer chick. Cool. Max the bartender. There seems to be something developing there, which
Right.
is kind of intriguing, but like I honestly don't know if that's going to do anything. Like I keep waiting for the dude who sells all of the vanity items to start thanking me legit and giving me some new vinyls and some new skins. Like let me bring the thunder and lightning, but like all it does is bring up the shop. So I'm hoping there's going to be more to the NPCs as the game goes on, but aside from your main characters and your contract boards, I don't know if the other NPCs are going to give you anything of worth.
Yeah, and it should be interesting to find out if I think they should agree,
Oh, absolutely, they should.
but
Oh yeah.
like I don't know if BioWare actually thought of that. Like, oh, maybe after spending all this time developing this relationship with this person and having a friendship with this person,
Mhm.
we should actually reward them with something in game.
Well, totally. I mean, like they've clearly made it so that Plucky Jack, when he's away from his desk, is a javelin pilot. He's in a
Right.
javelin suit. So, like, why not have him accompany you on an actual mission for
Right.
like something like get him out from Fort Tarsis and into the world, kind of like they did. Oh, that's kind of a spoiler. I won't actually tell you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no.
But
Redacted.
I was
Yeah,
thinking that
sorry.
exactly.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry, man. But like, once again, sorry, Destiny 2. The intro of Destiny 2 was probably the most immersed I felt in the world of Destiny because you were interacting with the characters. I like when you
Right.
first drop in, Zavala's there throwing up the shield while you fight off the waves of Cabal. Next, you go and see Ikora, and then like
Right.
you've never seen these characters out in the world before playing where you can actually run and gun and shoot with them.
Right.
If they do something like that with Anthem, like if they bring like if they bring like Owen out, if they bring Hollock, who they've shown is a like, yes, he's on a cane, but they've shown that he's a previous he's a freelancer and javelin pilot. Like, bring those characters out into the world with us. And I think that'll help as far as the overall immersion and attachment to the actual characters. I mean, like Freelancer Jack is probably the only one I can see that they can do that with. Bartender Boy, I don't think is going to come out into the world.
What if he didn't have a choice?
Oh, fair enough. What if he was being pursued by the angry, aggressive freelancer husband and tried to steal a javelin? Oh, fair enough. You're welcome.
Anything's possible.
Well, even from what is it, the demos, Matthias went out, so he stole a javelin and then he went into the free world. So it could be anything, you know.
Yeah. I like, speaking of, I never actually got to see that cutscene in the open demo. It basically froze to a black screen and I had to skip it. So at least I kind of get to look forward to that in the actual game. But like, I want to see the rest of them. And because you've got groups like Corvus, you've got groups like the Sentinels.
Right.
It's open enough that you can bring in other NPC characters to give you different quest lines and different stories as well. Because like Corvus is basically like the NSA CIA, right? They can bring in another covert spy that's been out in the actual wild or been undercover with the Scars Dominions, or what's the third fight? The Outlaws.
Yes,
I think are the other ones.
Outlaws.
So you could do something like that, and then the Sentinels are basically caught. So you could there's a whole different, like you could do like there's a thief in Fort Tarsis. You could do a whole bunch of different stuff just with the factions that they've got too. So once again, there's a lot of potential there, but BioWare just has to kind of nurse it and kind of knead it in the right way.
Right.
Well, and pretty early on, in one of the, like Your Story, Our Worlds, when they
Yeah.
covered that at I think it was PAX. There was even a character there that I think either seemed like he was maybe a Dominion refugee, like he came from
Okay.
there, or he was Corvus anyways. So I don't know if that is the case, or if he was maybe like a spy
Right.
amongst the Dominion,
Interesting.
because he knew more about their their culture and how they live.
Interesting. Now, do you think that that's a main story beat that you're gonna see regardless, or do you think that's from a side quest?
I don't know, but it should be interesting to find out.
Yeah.
Fair
And,
enough.
Yeah. As long as it's in there,
yeah,
that's what I want.
Touche.
Yeah.
and
Touche.
I'd like to see more in-depth characters like that. Like actually talk to a spy that is working amongst the Dominion, or even a refugee that explains about why he escaped that life, kind of thing.
hmm
Right.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of seeds planted that they can
Right.
answer. That, I mean, the fact that they've said the DLC is free, and that's kind of that, I think, is entirely based on how well microtransactions do. If they're not making enough off the vinyls, if they're not making the armor sets, they're not making enough off the different textures, we're
Right.
gonna see paid DLC. You can't promise a 10-year game on free DLC without having some kind of a microtransaction system that works.
Right.
And to speak to that point, as soon as I noticed something in terms of what is available right now,
Not much.
I did spend a little bit just for
Oh,
meme
you're on
meme
PC. Yeah, I
meme
can't even look at the price of
purposes.
the shards yet. I'll admit I've actually looked because that legendary Colossus armor looks sick. But
Okay, so in terms of the price of shards, it's not that bad.
no,
No, it's close to normal, maybe even slightly better.
oh, interesting.
Um,
As an EA Access member too, I think we get 10% off too.
you do.
So
Yep.
there is
That's a
that too.
factor.
So I'm probably in
Which
the
is probably why
very
it's slightly better.
exactly. I'm probably in the very, very small minority where I spent money for silver for the Eververse.
Right.
So that was in my desperate attempt to try and make my Guardian look different from the people in the actual tower. Like,
Right.
aside from you having a different shader on, everyone was rocking the same
Right. They all
either
look the same. Yeah.
yeah, either the same raid suit, the same exotic, something like that. So like
Right.
Eververse was kind of your one attempt, and it was clear it was a bad attempt, but the amount of time I sunk in that game, I wanted to differentiate my Guardian from everybody else. So throw some silver at it.
Well,
I'm
Right.
totally going to be that Anthem player that if there's a cool texture, if there's a sick piece of armor, if there's vinyls, if it's not overly costly, and from what you're saying, it doesn't seem like it's going to be too bad, I'll totally throw it some extra.
yeah.
Right.
Right.
But what's a little different in this case, though, is BioWare was really smart as far as making their entire microtransaction thing vanity items. It's not as big an issue first-person shooter because you don't see your character. Whereas Anthem, all you see is your javelin when you're actually playing the game. You can't tell me that you're not going to throw a little bit of extra to make your javelin look cool as, blank. Right? So they've done a really good job as far as that goes. They were really, really smart because that's your main focal point while you're playing the game is your javelin, and you want your javelin to look badass.
Right.
As far as the customization goes, I think I think they've honestly, this is probably waxing a little poetic, but I think they've set a new standard as far as customization between the 6 different layers you can do as far as your javelin textures. Then, like from what we saw in the VIP and in the open demo, the amount of options that you have for, do I want rubber? Do I want leather? Do I want textured metal? Do I want tactical cloth? Like those, the color schemes, and then having it so it's like a permanent transmog system where you're changing your silhouette of your actual javelin. So the armor components don't give you any extra actual powers. They just change how your javelin looks. So between that and the 6 layers of tech customization and colors, I think it's going to be and friggin' vinyls.
Yep.
Jeez, sorry. It's going to be rare for you to see another javelin that looks like you. And I think that's a big selling feature for me, is that I will be an individual in the world of Anthem.
Right.
Yeah. And
Oh yeah.
I do notice similar color themes, but the really nice thing is, like, everyone has their own like flair. Like, so
Totally.
so the whole Ghost Spider Gwen color theme of
Right.
the black, white, and the pink. That I see that a lot, but like they accent different parts
Right.
along that.
And that's just it, based off of like on the Colossus, he's got like these big kind of roll cage bars on the front, and based off if you go with a bare metal or just a painted, like it completely changes the look of it. So they've done a really good job. Like when I unlock, I've only unlocked 2 of my javelins so far. I started Colossus, unlock the Storm. I think I'm going to go Interceptor next, and Ranger is going to be my last. But my goal with my Interceptor is to try and make it look like the Batman Beyond costume. I'm going to see if I can actually... So completely black with just kind of like a red. If I can kind of do a bat crest, we'll actually see. But that is my goal for the Interceptor. Like, what are you guys looking at as your mains?
Ooh, Damien, you want to go first? He already knows what I'm going to say because we talked about this a little bit. So,
so my main is definitively Storm. Like hands
definitively
down.
Foot down.
Yeah, and then
will you ever take another javelin out?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like,
They're all just gathering
have
dust
fun
in the
on
shop.
them. It's just like Storm is like miles above more fun, personally.
Oh, that. Can we all just have like
because you're floating
special...
miles above everything else?
Can we just give a special shout out to the combo system and how system is?
Oh my goodness!
That ping sound. Oh my god, so freaking satisfying. It's like it's some kind of like Pavlov's dog response, but it's so satisfying to see those yellow. It honestly feels like a fighting game. Like I'm playing kind of like Killer Instinct, where it's like combo.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's so rewarding.
So rewarding. I think that's honestly going to be a big part of the gameplay loop, is that combo system and that sound and finding the right tweak. Like the Colossus in the open demo and the VIP demo, completely different. Oh, sorry, they were basically made out of paper friggin' mache in the VIP and open demo. Like I spent more time scrambling for health packs than I did doing anything else.
See, that's why I made the Interceptor, because I could just sprint to those
totally. So you are clearly an Interceptor main.
Yeah. I think for myself it'll be Interceptor and Ranger, just because I like the flexibility of like the Ranger's like I could do a bunch of things. Yeah. So just in case, and the
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Oh yeah, and then the Interceptor is just like, I just want to be the fast boy with the knives, just darting everywhere.
Oh my god, like, Interceptor is so satisfying. So with the Colossus in the full game, though, once you start getting some half decent components, it actually is the tank of the actual group. It's a weird mindset. You spend most of your time on the ground as the Colossus, whereas the Storm, you shouldn't be spending time on the actual ground. And then once you get the right setup, so I was running a flamethrower on my left arm, and I'm sorry, I don't remember the terminology, if it's the lightning coil or the shock coil, the one that basically just sends out constant pulses. I was a solo combo machine, man, and that was probably the satisfying Anthem experience I've had so far. So it's very much about finding the right components, finding the right gear for the build that you find the most satisfying. I think that's what's going to be the most intriguing. Like I'm the type of player where I'll look at what the squad is made up of and I'll try and fill in that gap as opposed to picking my favorite one.
Right.
So yeah, man, like I'm pretty excited with the tweaks that they made. They've also said too that the full game, there's apparently a patch coming too on day one.
Yes. That
they're addressing a whole bunch of different issues, like issues too. So even the game that we're playing now isn't going to be as good as the game that we're going to be playing February
Right.
22nd.
Yeah, they've already. I think I was reading tweets even this morning with like, yeah, we are working on patch notes. There's quality of life improvements coming. Like, we're only 2 days in, you guys, and they're all like, hey, we're fixing stuff for the 22nd, so just you wait.
Yeah. Like the fact that they added sprint to Fort Tarsis, like a couple of days after the demo, like how everyone was saying it's too slow.
Right.
The next live stream, we've added sprint to Fort Tarsis.
Yeah, Fort Tarsis. Yep.
Yeah. So they're doing a really good job as far as that goes. So props them. Hopefully it stays
right
like that, and EA doesn't interfere too much.
Right.
Here's an interesting topic point for you. How do you guys feel about Apex Legends affecting Anthem?
So
I'll let you go first on this one.
He has an opinion.
I had thoughts.
Okay.
So the only thing I want to point out is the fact that Apex has an amazing ping system.
Yes.
And from what I heard, because of that, they want to bring something very similar to Anthem.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, say you found a treasure chest, you ping it. Say, come to me, I found a treasure chest, kind of deal.
Where would you? Okay, so once again, as a
Button
PC
mapping.
player, fine.
I know.
Yeah.
But where do you find that? Like, I'm trying to think on the Xbox controller. I was like, I'm already using 4 button mapped paddles on the bottom of my freaking controller. Where are you going to add a tag system?
It's going to have to be on the
map it and then use a D-pad.
Yeah.
Like if you go into the map, use the D-pad to ping it, then go back out of the map.
Do you really think people are going to take the time? If you're not playing with people that are in your friends group, if you're playing with a bunch of freaking randos, no one's going to take the time to open up the map, find it, tag it, and then fly out.
It's either that or you'd have to map it to like clicking in a thumbstick. Something.
Well, the right thumbstick is your hover, left thumbstick is sprint, right?
I think so.
What does the right stick, if you click it while you're on the ground, do? Does it do anything?
Don't think it does anything.
Oh, why not just have like that while you're on the actual ground, so you can't ping things from the air?
Yeah.
Click in
like
your
land and ping it, please.
Yeah, or potentially, because they completely changed the emote options now. So now it's permanently mapped to left, down, and right. Whereas before in the open and VIP demo, you basically pressed down and then you had to kind of scroll through the emotes. If they went back to that, you could just use one of the left or right on the D-pad to ping. That you could look at that too. So
and that's something I want, because I enjoyed sprays in Overwatch.
Yeah.
And another thing, in addition to just those call outs, I've liked the ability to be able to spam, hey, my ultimate is ready, because it's a way to signal that, hey, I'm going to jump in and use my ultimate. You guys tell me if you're ready for this.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I'm saying I'm ready. Are you?
Yeah. Fair enough. But are you guys afraid Apex kind of poached a chunk of the Anthem player base?
I'm not.
No.
Yeah, I think because it's definitely two completely different experiences. You have you're filling a need I think some people have for, like, I want a new battle royale, or I just want to do PvP. Whereas Anthem is clear like, no, you're not shooting another javelin pilot. Sorry, bud. Like, we got stuff to do outside of these walls. Help us go fight some monsters, some outlaws, and this like tyrannical looking group.
Do you think that the fact that Anthem doesn't have PvP at launch anyway is going to hurt it?
I don't know if it'll hurt it. Maybe just a little bit for those people that were like, oh, this looks really cool and I want to do PvP with this. It may hurt from those people, but I have a feeling a large chunk of the community that plays games has always enjoyed a game where it has, like, a 60-40 split. Like, hey, there's all this PvE, but there's also PvP. So it's shifting from, well, I'm used to both experiences, but I think I can handle just PvE. I think you're going to see a lot of that. I don't think it's going to hurt as bad as some people think it will, because you'd be surprised, guys. There's a reason why people love Diablo. There's a reason why
Fair enough.
you can do those games over and over and over and not worry about it. Like,
Fair enough.
I played WoW for a bit. I never touched a PvP server. Like,
See, and that's just it. I
make
just
it
brought it
work.
up more to play devil's advocate,
Right.
if you will. Like I spend the majority of my time in games on the PvE side.
Right.
So I am all for cooperative PvE stuff. And once again, Anthem just scratched that itch for me.
So, speaking to that, the number one complaint with Destiny is most of their rebalancing nonsense comes because of PvP.
Yes.
And people are always complaining that their favorite weapon, like, you are a god-killing guardian,
Right.
and yet your weapons, like, they fire and they play really well, but at the same time, nerf.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
like the whole idea of having to rebalance, and I think this is where it's going to be great for Anthem. It's like you don't
They
have to
don't
fight
have to
another
worry
human
about
being.
Yeah.
We'll make this stupidly powerful thing.
Exactly.
We'll make it hard to get. Have fun.
Yeah.
Like that's incredible. And I think that's maybe another thing why I'm not worried about Apex.
Yeah.
Is because, like, sure, they need to make sure that their guns work for their environment, because a group of 99 players trying to fight each other, or however many players
Yeah.
trying to fight each other, it needs to work. It needs to feel fair. It needs to feel right. With PvE, we're just like, I don't care if it's not fair to that Scar. I'm gonna blow him off the face of the earth. Like,
Fair
like
enough.
make it as
Fair
powerful
enough.
as it needs to be. Like they're like, well, would you like the explosions to 11? Like that's the kind of mentality that
Oh
you
my
can
god.
have with
Speaking of
PvE.
explosions to 11, I don't just the base thump for your bullet impact.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my lord. Yeah, jack that puppy up, boys. So good. So good. So Adima, I know you're really the only one who's actually played so far. Has it been fairly stable for you as far as like issues?
Yeah, so load times are a bit much.
Oh, let's talk about load screens for a minute.
And then, well, not even talking about that. Like, straight off the bat, load times are a bit much. But the thing that's really bugging me right now is, like, so you're doing a mission, you see a pretty vista, and you want to take a
Mhm.
screenshot. So you do. And then you get a little warning on your screen saying,
Catch up.
yeah, catch up to your teammates. And you got, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's like 20 seconds to catch up to
Yeah.
them. And so,
Yeah.
like, the rest of the time, you're just racing constantly, ignoring
Yeah, you don't.
everything, trying
Yeah,
to
Right.
catch up
that's
to
actually
your
fair
team.
too. One of the other okay, so I've like as far as issues, I've hit the 95% twice. I've been booted. Oh my god. I'd say 5 or 6 times, but I think a lot of that is because it's through the EA Access trial. I don't think that's going to happen during the full game, because every time I go into the game or go back to the dash, that EA pop-up says you have less than blank hours left.
Gotcha.
I think that's kind of messing with the EA servers a little bit as far as the Anthem side, so I'm expecting that to be smoothed out, but it's been pretty smooth overall. I've had rubber banding a couple of times where like I just couldn't launch the actual javelin. I would press the button to jump and then launch, and it would jump me back, and then I'd launch it again and it would jump me forward. So I had a little bit of that going on, but I'd say 90% of the time it's been pretty because But I think honestly, like 20-25% of that time I've been looking at load screens.
Yeah, and I've been noticing that because I haven't touched anything on PC. Probably won't be doing that for just a bit till I make sure the computer doesn't melt. But
Like mine.
yeah. But watching people's streams, and I kind of agree. Like at the moment, it's just like, oh man, even with driver updates and everything, you're like, okay, just
It's
enjoy
just
the artwork for a bit, you know.
well, as an actual console player, let me like I'll set you up here, Dorsey. So you finish your mission, expedition, blah blah blah. Okay, so load screen after you do your loot. Okay, then it gives you the option, do you want to do, back to the social hub, Fort Tarsis, or the Forge? Okay, so you choose Forge, load screen. All right,
Right.
you're in the Forge, adjust your weapons, exit, load screen. All right, then you actually get to Fort Tarsis to actually walk. All right, I think it's also more jarring for players like us, once again, long-term desk. We haven't seen a static load screen in 4 years.
Yeah.
Granted, their static load screen was us looking at their ships
Right.
flying over whatever planet you were trying to actually do, but at least
Right.
it wasn't a bar with a static image,
Yes.
right? And
Something was
even
moving.
something was moving. And I mean, they even snuck in like, oh, we're going to quote unquote reward you with new icons for your load screen or reskins for ships. But at the same time, too, you could press a button and you could go into your Guardian, you could kind of tweak your loot,
Right.
like tweak your gear, you could look at your actual inventory.
Right. You can do something while the game is
You could,
trying to load.
yes, that's exactly my point. You could do something. And I know that they don't want, it's clear that they don't want players, once they pick up loot, to immediately go into their inventory system and start playing with it to basically stop the flow of the game. It's clear that they don't want that. That's why you get the loot at the end. All right.
Right.
But like, let us bring up our cortex. Like,
Right.
let us scroll through the stuff that we've actually discovered. Like, let us read about the game that you're currently loading. Or brainstorm, you know, that really badass cutscene where you launch the expedition where it shows your javelin like closing up and all that stuff. Okay, so I've in the 8 hours I've played, I've seen that full thing twice. All right.
Ah, okay.
It's a cool personal moment where you're seeing your customized javelin, your guns, your loadout, and your random Zac Efron face.
Yeah.
Right. But why can't they have that loading in the background of that? Because like
that'd be pretty cool.
Something like have it so that even have that that bar load halfway during that like I'm suiting up cutscene.
Right.
So it's like it always starts at 0.
Right.
And then you're waiting like a good sometimes 45 to 50 seconds to load in. And there's times where like, is this frozen? There's no actual music. You're looking at the actual bar. It hasn't moved. And then the music kicks in a bit, then it cuts out again. And then you're left staring for a little bit, and then it loads. Cool. But then to Adima's point, you load in and the 3 other people in your squad are so far ahead that you now have 20 seconds to try and rush to actually get them. So I think some tweaks need to be made as far as that goes, but it's like, it's a new game, people.
Right. Yeah, it's not even, can we even say it's 2 days old? Are we like, it's not even technically, right? It's early access. It's not launched. Like this game hasn't
basically
launched.
if we're using an analogy, it's a preemie baby that's in an incubator, and that incubator's the PC group. Right. They're probably doing a lot of the background testing for the rest of the servers, for consoles, for PS4, for Xbox, because that player base is huge right now. Like our Discord, the PC player base exploded on like February 13th. It's the biggest group that we've actually got. So I think that this is like not the most ideal way to stagger a release. It was confusing as a shat. Pro tip: anytime you need to release chart to explain your release schedule, it's too complicated, guys. Okay. I hope that they're doing a bunch of server testing with the 10-hour trials with the load of PC people, so that when they do that launch patch, they'll be fixing a whole bunch of other issues that they didn't know they had before they started the early access stuff.
Yeah, that's the hope.
yeah. It's like fingers crossed. Yeah.
Just dejected Destiny players just craving for just give us, please.
and this is gonna be a bit of a transition from Destiny, because Destiny is probably at one of the better, if not the best state it's been now. Like
Forsaken helped a lot for sure.
Yes,
for sure.
But at the same time, like I have an obsessive amount of time in there, and I'm ready to move on for the most part. I'll go back, but I
Right.
plan on completely skipping the season of the Drifter, and
Yeah,
because
I haven't even opened up the first forge
the
in
fact
Destiny. Like there's
Right.
nothing in there to do for me.
I the quality of the content for this Forge expansion is meh, but the weapons are some of the most fun and the best
Oh, okay.
in the game that
Okay.
I've ever used.
How do you
Like
feel about them recycling from Destiny 1 though?
I'm still
recycling
trying to
stuff
earn
from
mine right
Destiny
now.
1.
Yeah, last word.
I want it really bad. I'm actually gonna do that quest today. So
Fair enough, sir. Fair enough. Yeah, apparently it's a beast.
Yeah, it takes a bit of getting used to from everything I've seen. Like I haven't even been motivated enough. Like after playing Anthem, like the open demos, like going into Destiny and then having those ability cooldowns, I was just like, can't do this.
It's too slow. It's too slow for sure. For sure. They did a really good job as far as balancing how quickly your recharge is for your like even your ult. You get that relatively quick if you're doing combos. Like you get it, it seems like every like 4 to 5 ish minutes. So it really
Right.
like as far as the power fantasy goes that Destiny promised, I feel a lot more badass in Anthem than I really ever did in Destiny.
You
Right.
can get your ultimate way faster, like
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
seconds faster.
Yeah.
Oh,
The power fantasy is real.
Yeah.
totally,
With
totally.
Anthem.
And I
It
think
is real.
yeah, that's going to be a selling feature is because like I said, the Destiny, the hook is the gameplay. It feels really good to play. Anthem feels really good to play.
Right. I don't think like initially I think I was gonna have trouble like trying to like get my fiance to like what do you do? Have you played this Anthem game yet? It's like because it's
Preach,
like
brother. I'm
like
trying.
I've tried with Destiny and it doesn't have that same feel because it's like it's super grindy. I'm like it's now you say it, yeah, it is really grindy, but like
it's pretty bad when
when
she pops your Destiny bubble.
yeah,
Oh.
and then when it's like, well, what about Anthem? I'm like, look at how pretty this looks. Look at how
Mhm.
amazing these javelins look. You could spend 2 hours just making your javelin look pretty. You could like, it's like I
Barbie's
have no
dream javelin.
right. It's like I have like no trouble trying to pitch this to like you should get Anthem. Like,
I'm-
and that's an amazing feeling to have. Or just like, no,
Mhm.
you want to play this game.
And
You want to play this.
I think Anthem is going to be a fantastic people that are playing like 2 to 3 hours a night, not the people that are having like 8 to 10 hour gaming sessions. They're going to burn through the content for sure. For the people that are playing
Right.
it once or twice a week, I think Anthem's going to be a game that will have some legs for them.
Right. Oh yeah, and I think that's like actually you nailed it because like I'm shifting more towards that. It's like I used to be that person. It's like like how many hours did you game every day? I'm like I don't know. I don't think I slept.
I used to Skyrim. Oh my god, dude,
Oh.
that game.
Yep.
Adina just looks towards the sky. Yeah, like yeah, I would be going to bed when people were like leaving for work.
Yep.
So yeah, so I completely understand with that. But like now, like as a quote unquote adult who has other responsibilities, like yeah, like I don't have the time that I used to have, and I'm probably gonna have less time to actually game as it is with everything I've got going on with the website, the group, and all of that stuff. But the community is really gonna help develop and shape the game and give it the legs that it needs. If you're playing with people that you enjoy playing with, that where you get to the point where you don't have to completely focus on the game. Let's be honest, Destiny probably got to a point where both of us where you didn't have to actively think about it. You just kind of the muscle memory just kind of kicked in and you were just kind of playing.
Right.
But by doing that, you were able to have some really good conversations with people that you were actually playing with that were in your actual group. I feel like Anthem is going to be the same thing. So as long as you're playing with people that you enjoy it, and as long as the loot is satisfying, that's the big thing. I feel like the game will have legs, and the longer that the positive Anthem community can be once the game launches, that's going to, I think, attract more of those people that are kind of on the fence. The people who aren't normally the quote unquote social like the social mm, mm, like the social the freelancers or pilots. Like before Destiny, I was never a big multiplayer guy.
Right.
Fire teams and raids changed that completely to where I enjoyed talking to people while I was playing
Right.
a video game. And I think Anthem is going to give that experience back, just on like a much prettier scope.
Right.
And from the sounds of it too, if EA they're apparently looking at cross saves. So demo, you could come from PC to Xbox and your save would actually transfer over. So if they're looking at that, it probably means they're looking at crossplay.
Right. And
That-
they are
Once-
very
that's the
much
big
aware
hope.
of that.
Exactly. And once I think that happens, I think you're going to see the Anthem community explode with a lot of those players that are doing the 2 to 3 hours a week.
Right. And
Well-
and it definitely markets, I think, better to play with your friends, because I used to be that guy that was the odd man out. Where it's just like,
Totally.
yeah, sorry, man, you're like the only one in 100 miles that has an Xbox. Like, great, you know.
Yeah,
Well, that's that. Like that comes back to why I started the group in the first place. Is the fact that like I was the lone wolf. I was the guy soloing into the actual raid queue with 5 other guys that knew each other. So for players that identify more like that, who don't necessarily want to join an actual guild, like I started something called the Freelancers of Fortune. They're essentially like mercenaries for hire. You can basically just put up your user ID, and anyone looking for like one actual player can kind of poach them from there too. But Anthem is going to be at its best when you're playing with people from your friends list, for sure.
Yeah, I would agree. It's like, well, I mean, they already kind of have like a tag for that, like strong alone, stronger together. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like, it's gonna be true.
and I think that the game is really conductive towards actually building and helping people too. So
Mhm.
last night I had a horrendous experience.
Oh, no.
Like me and my friend, we decided to do the stronghold at the like last thing before going to bed, and then it took us
How long had you been playing before you attempted the stronghold?
not very long. Like I
Okay.
would
okay.
do it with trying to fix the computer and get everything back up and running again. Like I this whole weekend I probably played 6 or 8 hours total, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good chunk of time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, did you do the stronghold on normal?
Oh, hard.
Okay. From what I've like,
Of course
is
you
it-
would.
yeah, well, preach, brother. It's got the best loot. Come on, you got to
Yep.
attempt the actual hard stuff. Now I heard that the hard that we got in the demo is very much not the hard in the full game.
Oh, it is definitely worse.
Yeah. Worse.
There-
Not
there-
a ringing endorsement, Adema.
There's certain things that are worse. So, do you remember the point where you're standing on the top and all the bugs are kind of climbing up to try?
Yeah, on that little platform, you got to hold that point.
So the little lightning orbs that stop you from flying, they
Yeah.
spawn constantly.
Oh,
And
Oh, fun.
so at least
as a storm, that sucks.
one person, like, which I was doing that because my cooldown on my abilities wasn't too bad, constantly spamming and getting rid of those things, so everyone else can focus on damaging stuff
Oh
without
shit.
like dealing with that nonsense.
And then how was the swarm tyrant at the end? Was it like the same amount of time to take it down, or was it longer?
I think the swarm timer. I never had problems with that fight specifically. Like it's not that bad.
Same.
Right.
But like there's other points. Like earlier in the mission, by far the hardest point is that first chest where
Oh
you
my
had to
God,
collect
yeah,
the
yeah.
12 orbs total or
Yep.
echoes
With
total.
there's what,
Those
like
echoes.
5 or 6 turrets in the area, hunters and scouts in every possible out.
Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, preach.
Yeah, it was really really difficult last night because one person was in there at level 9 obviously underleveled.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't even know it was
Oh
unlocked
man.
at that level. But like literally, he got hit by anything, he was dead.
Down, yeah. Well, hard actually opens up right off the bat. So it's only when
Well,
you hit level 30 that you can start doing the Grandmaster stuff.
well,
But yeah, like,
kudos to that. Like, I'd rather like, oh, you think you're ready for hard? Here then.
humbled.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason why I've been doing everything on hard is because I want better gear right off the bat.
so that
and
you
then
can attempt
that way, when I
Grandmaster
actually attempt Grandmaster,
stuff. Yeah,
it's a reasonable experience.
Same. All right, so here's another topic of contention for me: the revives.
Like, it was like having no cam to flip between,
You
or
can't spectate. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't respawn yourself. There's really no incentive for people to come and get you.
Revive is
Yeah.
worse than the demos.
Why, when I revive someone, is it changing my weapon?
Right.
Like, I don't know. They're like, as a Colossus in particular, because we don't have that regenerating shield.
Right.
For me to try and go in and get someone who's not necessarily in the best spot,
Right.
I'll get him about halfway up and then I'm down. Or I'll get him up, he'll fly off, and then I'm dead immediately. And now I've got to wait there for 20 to 30 seconds before someone comes and gets me.
You gotta make that a ranger or an interceptor's job.
Fair.
Have them go do it.
Fair.
Yes.
Like, I'm wondering too, because they've said that they're looking at adding additional javelins. I'm wondering if there's going to be like a class.
I would be okay with it. And I think, didn't we, Dima, I think we maybe mentioned this a little bit when we talked with your Anthem and we talked with William about doing a medic class. I could see it like if you did it with like the ranger, if you did like a re-kit of a ranger, because you already have kind of a bubble like shield that you can
Fair
deploy,
enough,
which gave me the kind of Halo Reach, Halo 3 vibes.
Reach.
And then it's like, well, yeah, what if you like, I don't want to say like, just take Anna's gun from Overwatch, but what if you had something that you could like just shoot into your teammates?
Yes, or a health pack that you can throw or something like.
I am still very, very disappointed that the Warlock healing Warlock grenade doesn't also like stop enemies from healing because of Anna.
Right. Just like, why doesn't that? It should be the same.
Yeah.
So I think they've got some pretty good options there, but yeah. So I think the revive system needs another look at, like, give us an overshield or give us like a little bit of extra armor once we've actually fully revived. Because I mean, once again, Destiny, you get an overshield once you revive someone, so that you can
at least allow you to survive to get out. Yeah,
and that's just it. Like, I don't want to have to be like, down. I know I'm going to get killed if I try and go and get.
Right.
Whereas Destiny, you could basically, as a hunter, you could go invis, you could blink. As the warlock, you could throw down the healing rift. As the titan, you could throw up the wall, so that you always had some way to block incoming fire while you were still reviving.
There's a way to protect yourself.
Yes, even like as the Colossus, like I can't even have my shield and revive someone.
Right.
Like, that seems dumb.
But there are some mechanics for the other character types for that, and I agree.
Yeah, you've got the wind wall on the storm, right? You've got
and then you had the bubble on the ranger.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I think the bulk point, I think it's called.
Yeah, bulwark.
Yep. Yeah, bulwark.
Yeah, and then for the Colossus, you just roar and grab everybody's aggro, and then you can't soak up that aggro. And what's the other one I just got? I think is an increase to shields was the last drop that I got for it. So when you do your little cry, it actually increases everyone's shields by 20%.
On hard, reviving, it actually helped with the Colossus. So the Colossus would stand there, hold up the shield, block damage.
Oh, and then someone else would come in and revive.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So once again, think like a squad of 4.
Yeah.
Right.
Fair enough, man.
But at the same time, I think the Colossus should be able to revive while they're or
holding the shield. Yeah.
And then multiple people need to be able to revive, I think.
Like,
Unlike,
oh,
So
okay,
they
so
put,
unlike,
like more than one, so fast, like speed it up.
yes, exactly.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay.
That
I
actually
think
Yeah, I
could be
can
a
see
that
that.
viable
might
mechanic.
have been in the demo, or it might have been a bug because it felt like that was happening. Like multiple people
Fair enough.
were
Fair
trying.
enough. When did they drop the pilot's skill tree? That was actually promised.
They,
I've read
I
that
don't know
tweet.
where they dropped
too.
it, but they announced that they were dropping it because of the mods felt like it was verbose enough. It could completely
Okay,
replace
that's what
Right.
they were
anything
replacing it.
that.
Right.
Okay. So
So
between
you,
the
the
components,
mods are more
okay.
versatile.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you had to use any of the actual mods yet, like the little consumable or the edition, or no?
The consumables, yeah. So
Yeah.
what I've been running the past few missions, like I'm just running garbage loadouts that are just the best um, tier, I guess you could say, like the highest level, because that gives you higher level drops. There's another
Mm-hmm.
like there's something they didn't fix in Destiny for years, and I hope they fix that in Anthem relatively quick.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Well, I like the fact that they actually tell you what the percentage increase is
yeah,
Right.
up in difficulty. I think that's cool.
yeah. But so I've been running 2 fire abilities. I think one of them is a detonator, and the other one's just whatever, just straight up damage. And so what I've been using is a fire mod that increases that damage, and
Fair
it
enough.
helps.
Ah,
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm actually running got a component that does increased flame and lightning damage.
Mhm.
So I'm really liking that on the Colossus, and I think I'm running a combo mod too. So that's
Yeah.
it's
very nice.
you feel pretty freaking beastie.
Yeah. And I think all that stuff will play into the end game pretty substantially.
Totally. The end.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to in the Grandmaster 1, 2, and 3. You're gonna have to use those.
Right. It
Yeah.
would behoove you.
Yes,
to,
very much.
to
Very much
use
so.
use your advantages when. Let's see here. Oh, so kind of circling back in, Szkurzy, for the community and the coalition. Um, as it being like a whole gathering of literally everyone. You've already talked about how inclusive it's going to be. Are you guys thinking that you guys will set it up from, I guess, more the admin side or more from the community side to like get together for like scheduling, like just days to play together? Or
They're already kind of doing in the Discord, like the PC community in particular. I know I've actually played with a couple of our Xbox guys as well. As far as basically like the grouping up aspect, like you've got the LFG online. From an admin aspect, like everyone's getting tagged as either an
right,
Xbox, PS4, or PC player.
Right.
As well as on AnthemOutpost.com under the enlisted members. They've actually got a full listing of everybody by platform, so you can actually search up their gamer tag on whichever platform you're looking for, so you can search for specific people.
right, sweet. So I may be jumping in there with you guys soon.
Fair enough, man. More honestly, the Xbox community for some reason is the smallest growing one. So the more on.
Sweet.
All right.
Time to
So
be the underdog.
what are your plans? Like I know you're in the process of building up and getting ready for the guilds to be added and everything. But what are your plans for Anthem Outpost as a whole? Um, just what type of content do you plan on providing as the game progresses?
So like I kind of touched on before, I kind of want to have, so I've got different pages. There's the kind of who are we, which is like what is AnthemOutpost.com, who are the COUF. Then I've got I think the most traffic areas are more than likely going to be the Javelin customization. So there's a gallery for anyone to post their screenshots of their custom painted, custom vinyled actual javelins. We've got there are going to be more kind of scheduled events as far as playing with the members of the High Council. So myself, Draken, Cat Evolution, Kazoo, like those kind of people, and those will be posted on the website. But honestly, I'm good to game with anyone at that point. The website's just, it's gonna grow as the game kind of grows and as the community grows. Right. I've been getting a lot of pretty positive feedback about what people are wanting. So like right on there, I've got anytime that there's an official live stream, there's an official Anthem related video that gets thrown up onto the site under the page of the Forge. We've got sorry, I'm completely blanking here, boys.
It's all good.
Ideally, actually, to start actually our own podcast. I got to figure out the rest of it on this end, but I kind of want it to be exactly what you guys are doing as far as talking about impressions on the game, where you'd like to see it going, giving maybe reviews on, hey, like I tried out this actual build, worked really well in blank situation. But I'm more hoping than anything else that it's the community that helps kind of develop the website than anything else. What's the best way to actually put this? I kind of want to be the action that the words kind of put, or the community puts into action. So like, hey, we want blank, so I'll find a way or teach myself to get it onto the actual site. So if people want more information on where do I shoot an is it an Arekks is the big
Ursix,
Ursix, where do I shoot that for its actual crit spot? So I want to have photos of that with like, hey, shoot here kind of thing. I'm sure there's going to be more effective combos that are, so like fire and ice might be more effective than say lightning. So I want to have that kind of, it's essentially, I want it to be a one-stop shop. If you have Anthem questions, you're looking for people to play with, go to AnthemOutpost.com.
Yeah, and speaking to that point, it does actually vary slightly based on their health bar type too. So similar to...
Oh, does it really?
Yeah, similar to Borderlands in that sense.
Okay.
Where like, I think armored enemies, the corrosive weapons do more damage.
Oh, the acid. Fair enough. Yeah. Touche, sir.
Yeah.
Wealth of knowledge.
Another entry.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. That's why NTs are your best friends.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to say this is where it has to come to an end, but
that's okay. I feel like I have kept you guys done.
No. Any conversation that involves Anthem can
Fair
stay
enough,
forever.
Yeah. It gets to a point where you can only talk to your significant other for so long before their eyes just completely glaze over.
Right. So like, why don't you go to your podcast or something? You're like, oh, okay, my bad.
What is it like to live with someone who plays Anthem?
Yeah. It's like, join us in the first week of the Anthem. No.
You should totally start an actual vlog of you trying to play Anthem with your
oh my goodness, that would be hilarious.
With your girl.
That would be hilarious. Well, maybe I'll write that down. Maybe I'll pitch that later today over lunch.
Good luck. Yeah, get her into making her javelin look pretty first, and then sell her on the fact, well, don't you want to see your pretty javelin like fly and go out into the world? Slow sell it.
Right, slow sell. Got it. We got this. Well, you guys, all of our listeners and watchers, we have had this awesome conversation here over here at the Coalition of United Freelancers.
Yes, sir.
And dude, before we actually close it out, where can our listeners and viewers find you?
Best place is at www.AnthemOutpost.com. That's basically got all the info if you guys want to know about what the group's about, what the website's about. You can find me on Twitch /Szkurzy and on Twitter at AnthemOutpost.com.
Awesome. So you guys be sure to go hit up the Coalition of United Freelancers. Definitely that idea of, just we're all in it together,
Absolutely.
literally for Anthem. So definitely a place you want to be.
Strong alone, stronger together, boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Couldn't have said that better myself. So if you would like to follow For Tarsis Radio, we are on YouTube first, and then we slowly trickle out to the streaming services for the podcast. And then you can find us most places as For Tarsis Radio, so Twitter, Facebook. But on Instagram, we are FT Radio.
Awesome.
Yeah, and thanks again for listening, everybody. I'm your co-host, Dorcius. You guys can usually find me dinking around on Twitter.com/Dorcius or over on Mixer, and starting on the 22nd, streaming all the Interceptor gameplay you could need at Mixer.com/Dorcius.
And I am Adema360, just to finish this off. You can find me on Twitter, and I will sometimes be streaming on Mixer. Again.
Szkurzy, you can find me kind of everywhere for I'm online. So just check out the website, see if it's something that you guys want to be a part of. Like I said, everybody is welcome as long as they're willing to stick to the code of conduct, which is basically just be positive, be helpful, be inclusive. All right, just help out your fellow Anthem.
Awesome.
So
you guys, thanks again.
Something we finish off with the shows where our cam guest is a lovely selfie. So if you want to just cue up 3, 2, 1. All right.
Awesome, guys. This was fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thank
yeah.
you for coming
a lot
on.
of fun. Yeah,
Thank you, boys.